Hello, this video will review how to be successful in any online course. There are some things that we'll talk about today that are specific to Gordon State College, but then there's also going to be some tips that are transferable to pretty much any online course you might take at any college. So our specific objectives to talk about today are: what are my online learning options at Gordon State College specifically? How do I maneuver through my online course at Gordon State College? Now that is also usually pretty transferable, but I'll look specifically at our learning management system. And then what are some tips of how I can help myself be successful in an online course? And that is transferable knowledge to any online course at any university or community college. So first of all, let's look at what your online learning options are at Gordon State College. So we have our own campus courses where you come to actual campus, and we have some in the Barnesville area as well as Gordon State at McDonough area. Now McDonough doesn't offer all of the courses. Most of the courses are offered in Barnesville, and then we have a select couple in McDonough, but you're welcome to take both or mix them or one or the other. Then we also have hybrid, also known as blended courses. Those courses are, some parts of them are on campus, either Barnesville or McDonough, and then some parts of them are online. Now it's not always 50-50. It might not always be that you meet 2 days a week, one on campus, one online. It might be more of most of it is online and you meet on campus 1 day a month or something like that. So there's different models even within a hybrid or blended course. You want to make sure to talk to your professor and read the syllabus to make sure you know exactly what that's going to look like and what are going to be on campus as well as online requirements, because if there's any on-campus requirement as well as an online requirement, it's going to end up being coded as a hybrid course, even though there is some flexibility and some variety even within that. Then we're going to look at, we have Gordon online courses as well as eCore courses. Now these are our fully online courses, no on-campus requirements. Gordon Online and eCore can sometimes be confused. Again, they're both online courses. With both of these courses, you do get college credit that talks to your transcript. You get a grade like normal. So really, the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you took a Gordon Online or an eCore course, you're getting the same result. But there are some important differences that you need to be aware of so that you'll know if you're taking a Gordon Online course, if you're taking an eCore course, or if you're taking both. So some of the differences are that Gordon Online courses are taught specifically by Gordon professors or teachers. eCore courses are offered at the state level within the University System of Georgia, which our college is a part of. So your professor might be a professor at Gordon, but it also might be a professor at another college, say West Georgia, UGA, Georgia Tech, Valdosta State, one of those, someone else in the system. Your professor may be an employee there. Also a very important thing to realize with this is that Gordon Online courses and eCore courses use two different learning management systems or portals that you log into to be able to access your online content. And that can be very confusing to students because, especially if you're taking both Gordon Online and both eCore, you might be logging into 2 classes on Gordon Online and 2 classes in eCore, and you want to know which portal you're supposed to log in for which course. So that will be important to know and make sure you're logging into the right one. Similar to that, Gordon Online courses are going to follow the official Gordon State College calendar. eCore might not always follow that calendar. Usually there may be 1 or 2 days off. So for example, Gordon State College may start on a Wednesday and their classes may start on a Monday. So if you're taking both of these courses, you'll kind of have to know, well, these classes start on Monday, I need to log into this portal to get started, while these courses start on Wednesday and I need to log into this portal to get started. So you want to kind of stay abreast of the calendar for the start date and the end date, as well as things like the midterm, the withdrawal date requirements, and maybe breaks, things like spring break, fall break, that kind of thing. So here are 2 screenshots of Gordon's D2L as well as eCore's D2L, and they name it and call it GoView. So if you hear the word GoView, that is being referred to eCore's D2L. Both of them are Brightspace by D2L, which is the name of the learning management system. They're just branded a little bit different. So the good thing is once you actually get into them, they're going to be similar enough that you can probably find your way around. But the big difference is making sure you're logging into the right portal to be able to find your course. So on one side, we're looking at Gordon's D2L. Notice that the web link for that is gordonstate.view.usg.edu. Now with this, you're going to log in with your Gordon email username and password. You don't include the at gordonstate.edu part, but you're going to use, for example, AS123456, and then whatever password you're currently using for your email. And that is how you'll get into the Gordon portal. For the eCore portal, you actually have a little bit of a different login. So you'll be going to go.view.usg.edu. So it is a different web link, and your username is actually going to be what you use for your Gordon D2L, AS123456, for example, but then you're going to add an underscore GOC to it. So that's where the username are similar, but there is a little bit of a difference because there is an underscore GOC there. And then for eCore, you just want to do forgot your password. Put in that username, make sure to have the underscore GOC on that, and then it will send you a link to your email to reset your password. So just kind of keep in mind there are differences in the usernames and differences in the passwords here. The easy way to make sure you're on the right link is to, if you look in the top left, the Gordon's D2L will have the Gordon logo, and the GoView D2L or the eCore D2L will have the GoView link in it, or the GoView logo on it. Now, how would you find which one you are taking, Gordon Online or eCore? Well, you could wait to just log into the courses and see, is it in this Gordon D2L or is it in the GoView D2L? But another way to look at it, especially before the class begins, is to look at your course schedule. So when you're looking at the course schedule, and I'll show you in a second how to get to this web page, you can filter by eCore Online or you can filter by GSC Online. And of course, the GSC Online is Gordon Online courses. The eCore Online is going to be the eCore courses that are going to run through GoView. When you're looking at the schedule, if you look in the section area, notice that each course is labeled with a section code. So eCore courses usually end with a G in the section title. So for example, Art 1100 1BG or 1DG. With Gordon Online, usually they don't end in a G, and usually it's only one letter. So Accounting 2101B or Accounting 2101A. So that is an easy way to determine if it's going to be GSC Online or eCore Online. And the way to find that page on the Gordon State College website is if you go to the My Gordon tab and you scroll down to Course Search. And then here you could pick the semester, and then you could pick by campus. You could do GSC Online and search for that, and then find your course that way. Or if you're looking for eCore, you would come to eCore Online and make sure to check Show eCore Courses and search that way, and then it would show the eCore courses. And again, you can see the differences in the section title as well as on the location. It'll say eCore Online or it will say Gordon or GSC Online. So what happens if I want to take both? And that is absolutely possible. You just want to make sure you know which one is which, as well as know your different start dates, because even among taking Gordon Online or taking eCore, each of these have different start terms that you could potentially start in, which is actually helpful to you because it might be that you have something coming up at the end of the semester, so you can take a course early and be done with it before the end of the semester, or maybe something's happening at the beginning of the semester in August or September and you wouldn't be able to take a class, but you could pick one up in October and finish it on up that way. So with Gordon Online, we have full term classes that last the whole semester. So in a regular fall semester, they would last from August to December. In a spring semester, they would last from January to May. We also have first term classes that start at the beginning of the semester, but they only run to midterm. So say from August to October, or in a spring semester, January to March. Then we have some that start in an alternative term, which starts usually about a month later than the regular semester, but runs to the end of it. So for example, in fall semester, instead of starting in August, it would start in September, but then it does run to December. And then we have second term classes that start at midterm, but then they go to the end of the semester. So these courses wouldn't pick up till October and then run to December, or they would pick up in March and then run to the end of May. Same thing with eCore. They have full term classes the whole semester, first half term or second half term. Now, keep in mind the length of time that these courses are allotted. A full term class is usually 12 to 15 weeks, while a half term class, either first term or second term, is usually about 8 weeks. So you're having more condensed information there. That may play a factor in your preferences in determining, which type of class you want to take. But again, just make sure that you know if you're taking a D2L or a D2L for Gordon D2L, a GoView course with eCore, and what your start terms and start dates are for that. Also, in that course schedule that we looked at earlier, it does list the dates there, so it would tell you when it starts, be it in August, October, March, what have you, as well as a specific date, because keep in mind Gordon Online and eCore may start on different dates as well. Now let's talk about how to maneuver in your online course. And this will be specific more or less to courses that are using Brightspace by D2L. So this would apply to Gordon's D2L as well as GoView. But if you maybe transfer to another college that uses Brightspace by D2L, which all colleges in the University System of Georgia do, then this should be somewhat of transferable knowledge as well. So again, the first tip is knowing which D2L you're logging in, either GoView or Gordon's D2L, and know that the way that our systems are aligned, you're not going to be able to see your course until the first day of class. So as we talked about earlier, you might be taking classes in different parts of term. Know that you're not going to see that course into that official first day. So if you have a course in GoView starting on the 17th, but then you have a course in D2L starting on the 20th, you're going to see those on those respective dates. So don't freak out if you happen to see that you are registered for a course, but then you log in a couple days ahead of time and can't see it. You actually won't even see the course in your D2L till that official first day of class, and usually it's at midnight on that first day that it releases into your account. You do want to make sure to log in on the first day of class and go ahead and start looking around. Usually there are some types of activities that you need to complete early on. We call these attendance verification activities, things like a discussion, a quiz, something like that that you need to complete early on. If you don't complete those by the deadline, it will drop you out of the class. So you want to make sure that you do them by that deadline, and it's usually pretty soon. Now also keep in mind that these are low risk activities. Usually it's just read the syllabus, answer a couple questions, or an introduction post. It usually doesn't require you to have a lot of content knowledge at this point, but you want to make sure you start logging in early and finding those assignments and getting those completed. Also, when you log in to either GoView or Gordon's online courses, you want to make sure to read the announcements area, which is going to be the first block that you see when you log in. These are general tips for the entire campus. So it might be things, reminders about workshops coming up. It might be reminders about getting started in classes. It might be technology tips or resources for you. So make sure that you pay attention to those, because those are designed to help you out. To find your courses, you're going to scroll below that announcement area, and that is where you're going to see a My Courses widget there. And that's where you're going to be able to see your courses listed. You should see a course for you should see a shell for every course that you are enrolled in. Keep in mind, if I am in, say, 5 classes, 4 might be in Gordon D2L, while 1 might be in GoView, depending on how my schedule worked out. Now, what happens if you don't see a shell for your course? Number one, ask yourself, am I logged into the right portal? Is it in eCore or is it in Gordon State D2L? Also, the second thing is ask yourself, when does it start? Because remember, if I have 4 courses that started in August, but then I pick up a 5th course that doesn't start till October, I won't see that course until October. So it'll add on to my shell when it is time. If you can answer both of those questions, say, yeah, I should actually have access to this course at this point, you can email us at helpstar@gordonstate.edu and let us know your name, your Gordon State College ID number, and then go ahead and tell us what course you're supposed to be in, and then we'll be able to investigate it for you. When you click in your course, this is what the home page of the course will look like. So notice at the top there's a navigation bar that has most of your common items on there. There's a student help link. There's also the content area, the assignments, discussions, quizzes, and grades area. And that's most of what you'll use. In the Gordon State College D2L, there's a tools and resources link that has a bunch of other stuff linked in there that you might come across, but most of the stuff It's going to be right there on that main nav bar. Notice that there is also a course announcements area here. Now, these announcements are ones that your teacher has posted. So those will be more specific to your course in terms of reminders for upcoming assignments, updates, maybe little videos for you to watch, debriefings of this is what we've done this week, this is where we're going the next week, that kind of thing. So make sure to pay attention to those. Also on the side here, you'll have a calendar for that course with upcoming requirements and upcoming activities that can kind of help you stay in the know of what is coming due next. So after looking at that page, you're going to click the content area on the navigation bar, and that is where most of your content, your files, your video links, that type of stuff is going to be located. So once you click on the content area, notice on that far left side you see what we call modules. You could also think of those as folders. And when you click on those, in the middle of the page will open the documents, the links, all the things that are organized in that particular folder. Now keep in mind that you want to log in during the first couple of days of class and kind of click around in these modules to try to figure out how your teacher has organized it, because not all classes have the exact same modules. So it may be that your teacher has organized this by unit or by chapter or by topic area. So just kind of take that with by going in here, logging in, and then clicking on the different modules and seeing what is in there. Usually all courses will have the first module in the course will be something like a Start Here module or a Course Resources module or some type of module that you want to look at first to look for certain documents that will help you to learn more about the class. And so this module will usually have something like a syllabus file, a due date document, and maybe even those attendance verification activities we talked about earlier, like an introduction discussion post or a quiz that you might want to do. So when you find that syllabus file, you want to make sure to really pay attention to the materials in it. It will give you your professor's email. It will tell you how to contact your professor when he or she has open office hours where you can go online and meet with them live. It will also contain policies for the class, things like late work policies, those type things that you want to be aware of early on. Maybe in the syllabus file or maybe potentially a separate file, usually there's some type of due date document that has a listing of all the due dates for the activities in the course. A lot of times these are posted up front in an online course, so you can go ahead and have those and plan out your semester of when things are going to be due and when I need to complete them. Now let's take a break and talk a little bit about mobile devices. So you're welcome to use your phone to review content, kind of check due dates, that type thing, but you don't need to bet on using your phone or really even your mobile device like an iPad or something like that to do all of your online coursework. You want to have a dedicated laptop or desktop that you can use to do the heavy assignment creation, the heavy quiz taking, those type things. Now D2L does have an app which is called Pulse, and you are welcome to download it for free, pick your school, and then log in with your credentials, and then you are able to see some of the reading material, some of the assignment material. You can even have a little to-do list, and so that's great for seeing D2L on the fly. However, you still should be logging into your online course via your laptop or desktop at least once every other day, if not every day, in an online course to be able to do your assignments, actually work on them, and make sure that you haven't missed anything on the mobile version. So here's some examples of when you might use your laptop or versus your phone. So if you just want to read emails, you can use your phone for that, but to send lengthy emails, you're probably going to want to set that up on a laptop or a desktop. If you're just going to quickly glance at your notes while you're waiting in line, maybe waiting in, the line for a coffee or waiting in line at the doctor's office, you could definitely check your notes for it in the mobile version for your online class. But to actually do full-on research, you're probably going to want to dedicate time and have a laptop for that. You might use your phone to check for the due date for an assignment, or maybe check the calendar to be able to add something to your to-do list. But actually working on the assignments or actually taking the quiz, you want to do on a full laptop or desktop. Same thing with discussions. You might read what other people have posted, but to actually write out your discussion post to keep it nice and neat, everything spelled correctly, everything capitalized correctly, you probably want to do it and dedicate it on your laptop or desktop. Now let's talk about some tips for being successful in an online course. Now keep in mind these are transferable. These are just generalized things. So whether you're taking Gordon Online, eCore, or potentially another online course at another college, these should apply. So the first one is to synthesize and record all of your due dates in one place. So earlier we talked about most online courses have some type of due date document that lists all the due dates for the semester right out there, right in the Start Here module, right out the gates. So what you would want to do is find those files in each of your online classes and download them and have them kind of in front of you. Then you want to get a planner of some kind. Now, some people prefer paper planners that you can buy at the dollar store, at Walmart, anywhere. You have some really nice fancy ones, and then you have some that cost about $1 or $2. So it's up to you to decide on that. Some people prefer technology-based calendars. So in your Outlook associated to your email, if you log into your email, there's a link for a calendar that's built in that you can build and put your due dates in. Or if you're more familiar with like Gmail or Google, there is a Google Google Calendar in your Gmail that you might use. So you're welcome to pick whichever one that you're most comfortable with. But once you log into that, you want to go ahead and assign each course a color. So be it biology is blue, math is green, literature is red, however you want to color code it. And in that color, either in your physical planner or in your calendar, you can actually categorize things by colors there. Go ahead and add in the due date on all of those, for all of those courses in that one calendar. Now, what's also very important is after you've recorded that due date on the actual day that it is due, skip 2 days ahead on that calendar and put yourself a reminder. And make sure to put enough information on here so that when you're looking at it, you know exactly what it is. So, biology quiz 2 is due in this topic module, or whatever you need to define it as, specific or not, so that you know when you read that exactly what is due and what you need to do for that. Additionally, you want to take a different color and you want to add in all of your other responsibilities outside of school. So things like your work schedule, or if you have children and you have those obligations, ballet, soccer, what have you. Any other obligations that you have to be somewhere at a certain time, go ahead and put those in that calendar as well, because later another tip is going to be looking at this information and planning study times, and you're going to want to have everything panned out so that you don't miss something. A pro tip here is that most of our courses at Gordon State College are asynchronous, which means there isn't a live meeting. You're not having to meet live on Teams or Zoom or something like that. And so you just have an assignment due and you have to turn it in by the due date. If there is a live meeting required, it will be in the syllabus, and you want to make sure to put that on your calendar too, because you do have to be somewhere at a specific time. So if your course does have that, or if you're maybe going to another college that does have more synchronous courses, which means that there are live elements to them, make sure to record those in your calendar as well. The next tip is to try to get ahead if you can, and that can be hard for people who are very busy, and a lot of people who choose to take online courses or online programs do so because they are, again, very busy. But if you put in the work ahead of time, this can benefit you on the backside of things. Sometimes in online courses, the teacher will have these assignments open from day one, or they'll have them open at least 2 or 3 weeks early. So that means you can actually get started on them and complete them way before the deadline. So for example, specifically in D2L, if you look below the name of the activity, it will tell you the start and end date. If there isn't a start date, it means it's already open for you to complete. If the link is blue there, you can actually click on it and go ahead and get started. So for example, this quiz is due on September 12th. I can take it anytime I want to until September 12th. Sometimes students get mistaken and think I can only take this on September 12th, which is not the case. In most online courses, things can be done days, maybe even weeks ahead of time. Now, if an assignment does have a start date, if your course is designed to where, an assignment is only open for a week, also on your calendar, go ahead and record the date that it starts so that you'll be reminded, oh, this opened today. I'm going to get busy later on in the week. I can go ahead and do it today and get it over with. Using your calendar that we looked at ahead of time, try to get ahead if you can. That planner can be very beneficial in this. So you're just kind of looking at it and seeing what's coming up next week. And if it is possible, go ahead and get ahead. A lot of times if you do heavy work on the beginning of the semester and you get a week ahead and kind of stay a week ahead, that will make the end of the semester a little bit better. And then also keep in mind that if disaster happens, you're already a couple of days ahead, so you don't have to worry about trying to finish an assignment that evening or the night that it is due. Also keep in mind that most courses are not work at your own pace, which means there are strict deadlines and there are things due every single week. It is not the case of this course opens and you can turn in any or all assignments by this one deadline at the end of the semester. Most courses are set that there are check marks every week that you do have to turn in things. So you want to make sure to really follow that planner and try to get ahead if you can. The next step is giving yourself time to chew on the information. And so the goal in online classes is not to sit down, read the material, and submit the assignment all in one sitting. They're designed to take you several days or several weeks to complete. So instead, a strategy is as soon as the assignment opens, go ahead and just read it. It might be a discussion, an assignment, or the content that you're going to be using for the quiz. At least just sit down and read the information. Then take a while for your brain or yourself to chew on this information. This might be a few hours or it may be a couple of days depending on the schedule and how quickly the assignment is coming due. So think about things like what you're supposed to post, how long you think it's going to take you to do this assignment, what you're going to write about, and think about maybe the materials that you need to gather or review for that particular quiz or activity. A big thing here is in your head planning out how long this is going to take you, because you may say, oh, this is an easy assignment. It may take me in half an hour to complete. Or you may look at that assignment early and say, wow, this is going to take me at least 2 or 3 days to complete. And then later on, you're going to have to be able to plan time for that. Then once you've chewed on the information and you have generally a good idea of what you're going to do, then you can sit down and do the assignment. Now keep in mind it might be more than one session for this, depending on how big the assignment is. Usually when you give yourself time between reading the assignment instructions and then actually starting on it, you're more likely to submit a better quality assignment. So for example, we have 2 students here. We have student A that saw the assignment was due on Friday. They went ahead and read the instructions on Monday, started working on the assignment on Tuesday, at least thought about what they were going to write about, did some more research on Wednesday, wrote their draft on Wednesday night, and then posted their final in the morning. Student B saw the assignment was due on Friday, opened the assignment on Friday afternoon, saw that it involves research, spent 2 hours working on the assignment, and submits it 2 minutes before it was due. Probably student A submitted a better quality assignment. Even if student B submitted a quality assignment, he or she probably had undue stress that wasn't needed if they had just opened and read and planned out how they were going to approach the assignment ahead of time. The next tip is to make yourself a physical space to complete your online work. So one thing that happens a lot in an online class is you happen to end up sitting on the couch in front of the TV with your children or your spouse or someone else in the room playing video games, talking on the phone, making a lot of noise. And oftentimes you may say, well, I have trouble focusing, and that could very well be the physical space that you've put yourself in. So one difference with an online course is you don't have a classroom that you're physically going into that is dedicated to completing activities or learning about this topic area during this specific time frame. So something that may help you is creating a physical space for your online activities where you go to read, study, do your work, that type of thing. This space may be in your home, in your dorm room, or if those areas are very loud and busy, you might find a spot in your local library or in your college library or somewhere that is quiet, that you feel comfortable, that you can focus with. And you want to use this consistently as you can so that you can leave your stuff in there. When you walk in there, that is your zone. So try to pick somewhere that you'll be able to use consistently, a couple days a week, if or at least once a week. In this area, you also want to make a plan for noise. If you're in a dorm room, maybe you want to dedicate this time while your roommates are in class or at work. They're not in the space with you. If you have children, you might want to make sure that this is a space in a time where someone else can occupy your children. If they're older, that you want to make sure that they understand that when you're in this room, you're not to be interrupted for things that are non-emergencies. Also, if this is a dedicated space like a room in your home or something like that, put all of your stuff in there and keep all of your stuff in there so that when you go in there, you'll have everything that you need. So this, of course, is like your laptop, your books, your notebooks, but keep other things in there that you might need. Things like snacks, water, a blanket, a lamp, those type things, so you're not having to constantly leave the room to get things. Another important tip with this is when you're in this room, put a timer on, maybe with your phone or on your laptop, so that when you are in the room, you are working for however long you've dedicated. So set your timer for 30 minutes, go into your room and say, I'm going to stay in this room 30 minutes and work on whatever this activity is. During this time, no social media, no Netflix. If you can go into a room that doesn't have a TV in it to where you're not tempted, that would be a great thing too. If you don't need your phone for school, maybe even don't even take it into the room so you're not tempted with that distraction. Another pro tip is make sure that this is comfortable and somewhere that you actually want to be. So make sure that you have a comfortable chair or maybe a room with a window if you're not going to get distracted by that. Also put in things like your calendar or maybe a vision board or pictures of your family or something that will help you stay motivated without distracting you. Our last tip of the day is plan time as if you were actually going to class. So with online learning, we're likely to put off assignments because there isn't a set time that we are walking into the classroom to read, to discuss, to work on those activities. So what you might want to do is build in time in your calendar as where you're going to go into your online space that we talked about earlier and be quote unquote in class working on these activities. So going back to our calendar here, remember we put in all the due dates for the assignments for all of our classes and we color coded them. We also put in reminders 2 or 3 days ahead of time to remind us, hey, this assignment is coming due. We also put in any other outside obligations like work, childcare, anything else that we have to do in a specific time range. Now what you would want to do is look through your calendar and say, okay, when can I dedicate consistent time to work on this specific online course, and be very intentional and specific with this. It's helpful if you can do it the same time every week. So maybe every Tuesday morning it's going to be chemistry. And it might be that literature is on Wednesday afternoons. It may be, though, that your schedule doesn't allow you to have consistent times for every single course. And as the course rolls on, you may see that you need to spend more time in one course just because of the nature of the activities or your skill level in that course than you need to spend in others. But what you do want to do is take the semester, looking at the times of when things are due and looking at your outside obligations, and go ahead and plan in time when you're going to be working on these activities. So for example, you may say chemistry on Tuesday the 2nd, I'm going to work on chemistry from 8 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock. I'm going to be in my room working on chemistry stuff. Or on Thursday the 4th, I'm going to be starting my research from 8 to 2. And it might be that you actually list out specifically what you're going to do once you get further into the semester and you know what's going to need to be required at that time. You might say, in literature, I'm going to start this research. On this day in literature, I'm going to write my rough draft or whatnot and define it out that way. Now, sometimes you may not be able to dedicate a long chunks of time for this. It might be that you don't have that kind of time, or it might be that your attention just doesn't allow for it. So you can switch it up. You can say, well, I'm going to spend an hour on literature, and then the next hour I'm going to spend on chemistry, and then the next hour I'm going to spend on math instead of spending 3 whole hours on math. So it's up to you based upon your skill level and your attention level and how you know yourself as a learner. What's also helpful with this, if you have trouble with focusing, is to set also an additional timer. So you go into your room and you set a timer for 20 minutes and say, I'm going to work uninterrupted, no Facebook, no email, nothing, working on this particular subject area for 20 minutes straight. Once the timer goes off, you can take a 2-minute break. Go to the bathroom, have a snack, check Facebook or Instagram or whatnot, check your email, whatever, and then after 2 minutes, get right back at it. So work, in 20-minute intervals with 2-minute breaks, and maybe that's too much for you, and maybe you need to do 10-minute intervals, or maybe you can work yourself up to 30. So these are not hard set times, but again, giving yourself uninterrupted time and then a break, and then uninterrupted time and a break. Also, as you're putting in these times for your plans, overplan that time. It may be that you don't need 3 hours to do the activity. You may only need an hour and a half. But in that case, you've already planned your time and you now have an extra hour and a half that you didn't need to do something else, work on another activity, or just have some downtime. But it's better to overplan your time and allot for it than not, and then realize you don't have enough time to get everything done that you needed to get done. So something that people say when they're looking at this is, how much time should I actually plan for a course? So a way to look at that is, most college courses are 3 credit hours. The labs are actually 4 credit hours, and some of them are less than that, 1 or 2 credit hours, but the majority of classes are 3 credit hours. What that means is, in an in-class course that you're going to campus for, you are in that class for 3 hours a week. It may be, you're going Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and you're in that class an hour each time. Or it might be that the class is 2 days a week and you're in it an hour and a half each time. So for an online course, you're wanting to plan at least 3 hours worth of dedicated time to that particular course. Now think about it in a on-campus course, though. You're in the actual classroom 3 hours a week, but you probably have outside time and outside things you have to do as well, studying for the test, or doing your research or doing your homework or that type thing. So you should plan at least 3 hours, but keep in mind you may need to add an additional hour based upon quote-unquote outside coursework that you would be doing in an in-class course that you would have to allot for in your online class. So those are 5 tips to help you be successful in your online courses, and those were mainly focused on things that you can do to help yourself. Now I want to talk about 3 ways that you can get additional help outside of yourself. One way is seeking help from your professor. This is used if you need content help, things like, I don't understand this assignment, I don't understand this content topic, or maybe somehow I've missed a due date of some kind and I need to make that up. So you would want to contact your professor for that, and you can find your professor's email in that syllabus file that we talked about earlier, and he or she probably has online office hours every week that you're able to join in and talk to them live. Now, what if you need technology help? In that case, you would want to seek the information technology department's help. This would be answering questions like, I can't log into my D2L, I can't see this assignment, I can't submit to the assignment, and I know it's supposed to be open, I haven't missed it. So in that case, you could email the IT department. When you do so, make sure that you include your name and your course section and number, as well as the teacher name. Describe specifics too. Don't just say, I can't get into my assignment. What is the name of the assignment and what module it is in. Give us as much information as you possibly can. If you can include screenshots, that helps. And if you can tell us maybe what type of technology you're using, what browser you're using, what device you're using. Are you on a phone? Are you on a laptop? Because sometimes that can make a difference. Also know that for Gordon State College students, we also have a free tutoring program embedded into our Brightspace by D2L. That is a program called NetTutor, and that allows you to either meet live with a person during scheduled times, or you can drop off a question and pick it up later. And so you access that by logging into D2L, and on that main nav bar, there'll be a link there for NetTutor. Now keep in mind that these people are not Gordon employees, so they're not your professor, so you would have to be very specific as to, I don't understand this topic. You can't say, I don't know how to do number 6 on the homework, because they won't know what that means. Or you can't say, I missed this assignment. They're not your professor. They have no control over that. But you would say, I don't understand this particular concept, and they can give you help on understanding that either live or via a drop-off question. So that is it for this presentation. Again, we reviewed the differences in the types of online courses you can take, as well as how to maneuver a little bit in the learning management system, which is Brightspace by D2L, as well as some specific tips to help yourself be successful in an online course, as well as some ways to get help.